Hello everyone. Today I am going to explain you about the introduction of microprocessor and how it evolves from 4-bit microprocessor that is 4004, which is developed in 1971, to our core i7. So what is microcomputer? So before going to start with what is microcontroller, let us understand the microprocessor. So microprocessor is a digital device on a chip which can fetch instruction from memory and then it decodes the instructions and execute the instructions. So that is, it can perform a certain arithmetic and logical operations. That means it accepts the data from this input unit. Okay, accept data from input unit, process that data in the central processing unit, and then delivers the data at the output unit, that is results is displayed at the output unit. So basically, if we talk about the micro computer system, so it has basically three components. One is called as a central processing unit, another one is that is we can call it as a microprocessor, then input and output units, and then the third one is your memory. So through input unit, the data and instructions are fed to the memory or the computer. The basic purpose of this input unit is to read the data. So to read the data, it requires some input devices. So from input devices, it read the data, and then the function of you can say memory unit. So memory unit is a digital computer. Memory unit of this digital computer consists of devices which are capable of storing information in terms of read-only memory, that is ROM, and random access memory, that is RAM. When we talk about the central processing unit or CPU, you can say that. So it comprises of ALU and then control unit. So the central processing unit is analogous to your human brain, as all the decisions as per the instructions are made by the CPU. ALU is used to perform arithmetic operations such as logical addition, or you can say subtraction, multiplication, division, and other logical operations, that is arithmetic and logical operations on the data. The control unit guides ALU which operations are to be performed. So basically the control unit guides this ALU. Okay, so which by operations has to be performed. The sequence of instructions is controlled by the control unit. So which sequence of instructions are to become, that is controlled by the control unit. It also controls the flow of data. It also controls the flow of data from one unit to another by performing computations. Okay, the next one is output units. After processing the data in arithmetic and logical operations, the results are displayed to the through the output unit. Okay, for example, your CRT or your LED or your printer, these are the form of output unit. Then next one. Now let us talk about the evolution or history of Intel micro processor. So Intel in 1971 developed a microprocessor, 4-bit microprocessor, that we call it as a 4004. Okay, so basically the microprocessor is evolved in terms of its generation. So 4-bit microprocessor has been evolved, and 8-bit, and 16-bit, 32-bit, and now it is 64-bit microprocessor are evolved. So you can see that this 4004 is 4-bit microprocessor. Okay, this 8008 is 8-bit microprocessor evolved in 1972. Then all these are the 8-bit microprocessor. The 16-bit microprocessor is your 80286, which is introduced in 1982. Okay, 1982, and it has number of transistors. You can say that 134000 transistors. It has clock speed 8 megahertz, and it is of 16-bit. Okay, then 32-bit microprocessor evolved in 1985. That is the 80386. Okay, so it is 32-bit microprocessor. It requires, or it uses 27500 transistors in a single chip. Okay, so you can say clock speed is of 16 megahertz. Okay, then you can say this is 64, that is Pentium Pro, then evolved Pentium 2, Pentium 3, and Pentium 4 in 2000, which is 64-bit. it requires its clock speed is around 1.4 gigahertz, and basically it involves 42 millions of transistors in a single chip. Okay, next we will talk about Core 2 Duo, which is introduced in 2016, dual core processor. Then i3 Core i3 processor developed or introduced in 2007. It has around 2.2 gigahertz to 3.3 gigahertz clock speed. Okay, then Core i5 introduced in 2009. It has clock speed around 2.4 gigahertz to 3.6 gigahertz. Core i7, and then its clock speed is 2.93 gigahertz to 3.33 gigahertz. So a microprocessor system. So before starting with this microprocessor system, so any of the all of this microprocessor are defined by its word size. So 4-bit microprocessor, 8-bit microprocessor, 16-bit microprocessor, 32-bit microprocessor, etc. Okay, so a microprocessor is specified by its word size. Okay, so by term, what is mean by word size? So word size is nothing but the number of bits of a data that is processed by the microprocessor. Word size, or you can say ALU is of 8-bit, that means 8-bit microprocessor. ALU is of 16-bit, that means 16-bit microprocessor. This you can correlate. Okay, so it also specified the width of the database. So what is the database size? That specifies the microprocessor. Got this? Now microprocessor along with this memory and IO port. Okay, so these terms, all these terms comprises with the microprocessor, and it comes along with the microprocessor, and it serves the usefulness, or it serves its purpose. Okay, so the combinations of this IO port and the memory unit along with the microprocessor is called as microprocessor based system. So microprocessor is interconnected with the memory and IO port by the data bus and address bus. So microprocessor, address bus, data bus, and control bus. These are the buses which are required to interface with the microprocessor and interface with the memory. So memory and microprocessor are interfaced along with the address bus, data bus, and control bus. So basically, three bus systems are there. So what is meant by bus? Bus is basically a communication link. This is communication link between the processing unit and the peripheral devices. So the address bus, when we talk about the address bus is your address bus is unidirectional, and it is used by the CPU to send address of the memory location to be accessed. Address bus is unidirectional, and it is used by the CPU. It's used by the processor, or you can say central processing unit, to send the address of the memory location which is to be accessed. Okay, next data bus, you can see that data bus is bidirectional. So bidirectional data flows are there. So data flow from both the CPU, or you can say the microprocessor, and the memory, or from IO port to microprocessor. So bidirectional data bus. Then when we talk about the control bus, so control bus is again a bidirectional control bus, and it carries some synchronization signals. So what are the synchronization signals it carries? So it carries a memory read signal, it carries memory write signal, read input port, write input port, hold, interrupts, etc. So that is what about all the buses. So in this lecture we have seen the basics of microprocessor system, and in the next lecture we will see the architecture of 8085.